Alright, so from what I can see, no one cares to watch my creative videos. So, I guess I'll use my ongoing college degree for some good use and make a video on flying. Because no one knows I'm an aviation major. I kinda fly planes. But, if you didn't know, flying isn't hard. It's the mind-numbing rules that make you wonder if you're studying law or aviation. You get to know everything from how the engine functions and runs to what they use to paint the tail numbers on the plane. And the day I signed up for aviation, on the first page, it said, "You cannot sue us if you die." First, what you think is dangerous about flying is wrong. Let's say you hit a little bit of turbulence and you think your plane is going to nosedive straight into the ground. Well, it's not. Your plane is not going to nosedive straight into Earth. Turbulence is just your plane moving up and down due to wind at a rapid pace. Now, accidents have happened, not now. Your plane will not crash due to turbulence at all. That also means screaming and crying on a plane is not going to make your turbulence stop. On my first solo, I hit a gust of wind when I was going to land, and I guess my seatbelt wasn't tight enough, and when I hit the wind, my head hit the roof of the plane, and all the excitement of that solo left my body. I was panicking like I was going to just crash the plane head first. You're more likely to die by a vending machine crushing you than an actual plane crash or even turbulence. Now, I have seen some videos of people seeing what the pilots use for direction, and someone saw them using Google Maps for pre-flight and getting scared, or I don't even know. I guess some pilots do that, but they don't use it for directions. It's more likely they're using it to see if there's any like obstacles or where some visual things that they might see on the way going there. I don't really know. I'm a young pilot over here that's guessing, but they know what they're doing, trust me. You're spending a ton of money doing this training. I think they know what they're doing. Now landings, yeah, those are scary. I've seen those King Air videos. Those are not great. Those are not great. But no one's perfect at landings. I mean, on my first solo again, I hit the ground so hard and floated back up. I thought I was going to be a statistic. The plane basically did an Arabian drift on the ground, and I hit the ground so hard, it was embarrassing. And then I got back, and my flight instructor said, "Did anything go wrong?" I was like, "Nope." And she was like, "I saw you land." I was like, "Yeah, you did." Since all these new plane crashes going on that the news happens to be covering all of a sudden, because there's not like there's plane crashes every other year, but I guess now it's a big topic. So, we're going to talk about some stupid and crazy aviation experiences, or, yeah. The first story is on November 23rd, 1969. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961 was flying from Addis Ababa to Nairobi when the plane was hijacked by three Ethiopians. They said in three different languages that if anyone tried to interfere, they had a bomb and would use it to blow up the plane. The hijackers demanded the plane to be flown to Australia. The captain tried to explain to them that they didn't have enough fuel for that. They only had enough fuel for the scheduled flight and could not even make it a quarter of the way to their destination. But the hijackers did not believe him. Yeah. So the reason why they didn't believe him is because these so-called hijackers read in an in-flight magazine that the plane that they were flying had enough range to fly them there. But the plane was only fueled enough for the flight that they had planned, not the one the hijackers wanted. The captain begged them to believe him, but they kept beating him and kicking the second pilot out of the seat and started playing with the controls. They actually started going infant and playing with the controls, kicking them, and just horrendously malfunctioning the plane. When the plane finally lost fuel, they got even more mad that they were deviating from their plan and losing altitude, and kept telling the captain to raise the altitude and bring the plane back up, bring the plane back up. But he literally could not. Can you imagine being that pilot and just being like, we are out of fuel. I can't go any higher. And they're just like, you're lying. You can. Get back up. And then they start messing with the controls again. That's insane. Unfortunately, when they landed into the water, only 50 of the 175 people on board survived.
What's it? What's this? Oh, malifi. What is this? Oh.
Kan je iets zien nou?
Nee, niet veel. Nee, dit wat ons nou synchronisatie.
Our next story is in January 1918. During a dogfight, the Royal Flying Corps pilot, Captain Reginald Makepeace, pointed his aircraft, the Bristol F-2B, into a steep dive, and the negative Gs tossed his gunner, Captain J.H. Headley, out of his seat. During this time, they did not issue airmen parachutes, thinking it would make them less aggressive if they had an easy way out. So, he thought he was doomed. He fell several hundreds of feet, but so did the F-2B gunner. And the airplane somehow came together with the guy that was falling, and he fell back into the plane and landed on top of the aircraft. And he crawled back into the pit and went on to fight and kept fighting after that. He actually just battlefielded himself out of the aircraft just to land back in. Our last story is on February 14th, 1945. A aircraft woman, Margaret Horton, was assigned a job where she had to sit on the horizontal stabilizer on an aircraft to help hold the tail down while taxied on a windy day. Apparently, no one thought to tell the pilot that she'd be jumping on board. The normal drill for the tail sitter was to grab the aircraft's elevator and waggle it before the pilot turned onto the runway so he'd know that she was hopping off. But this time, Cox made the casual gesture out of the cockpit that Margaret took to mean, "Hang on, don't go yet." As the aircraft accelerated down the runway, Horton had a good sense to quickly flop across the tail cone. She was held in place by the vertical fin, her legs to the right and her torso to the left. Another person that seen what was happening dashed off to tell the flight sergeant, who ran out to the control tower and made an order for the aircraft to turn around and land. But she had a death grip on the elevator, and when they landed back down, she never fell off through the entire traffic pattern. And apparently, whenever she was done and got down off the aircraft, she just got a cigarette and went back to work. Ungodly. If I was holding onto an aircraft, there's no way I'm holding on. I'm just going to let go. I'm just going to die.